I think the first time I became involved as an advocate was when I was a junior in high school, and it was for somewhat selfish reasons, but and it was for youth because we had serious rumors amongst the district that they would take school year-round. And there were a lot of us who needed summer jobs in order to be able to, have our cars or to do things we needed to do. And so I organized a group of students. We went before the school board, and I spoke on behalf of the student body. And then we went before a larger, at our courthouse. We went before a huge gathering, and I actually spoke again and ended up in the newspaper as the student, the outspoken student speaking on behalf of kids. But it made me realize how even young people, if they got together, had their voices heard, could end up making a difference, because school did not go 365 days a year. I realized that Atlanta lacked a lot of quality, accessible programming for young children. A lot of our museums were doing things, but they were geared around older kids. And 2-year-olds want to soak up and learn and do as much as any child does. And we did not have a children's museum at the time. And I was very interested, having been in other major cities that had wonderful experiences for young children. I was very interested in bringing that to our city, and met with a woman named Pat Turner, who was doing a museum without walls, and actually volunteered to be her campaign chair. I think she was so stunned. Most people don't volunteer for that kind of craziness, but it was something I thought, I was in the position at that time to maybe help make happen. And it was the first leadership role that I had really taken on in terms of doing something for children. It really made me realize that if you get involved and you get informed, and then you go out and get other people involved and informed, then you can make positive change. I think one of the big changes I've seen over the past years, because of the voice that Children's Healthcare of Atlanta has, we see a lot more people paying attention and talking more freely about subjects that used to once be very taboo. And that gives me a great deal of pleasure, knowing that our initial conversations helped serve kind of as a catalyst for more open dialogue. The whole notion of child wellness, abuse, neglect, advocacy issues around children weren't being talked about enough. And so we, as a board, started pushing more and more and more for advocacy and attention to those issues. We all have our own groups that we can galvanize, be it through school or work or your friends. And the more voices you add to that, the louder and the more attention people will pay to it, regardless of position. As long as you are intelligently informed and you've got a relatively big voice, anybody can be an advocate. I think it's the power of one is within all of us. Within our own foundation, we made a decision about 7 years ago through our strategic planning to take on what we call Better Beginnings, which is early childhood education, 0 to 4. At the time, that wasn't very much of a hot topic here in this state, and I think through a lot of collaborative efforts, it's now become a hot topic, this notion of early childhood education and how critical it is and how important it is. So I'd like to give a lot of kudos to our foundation and all the work that they've done to help send that message out into the community. If I could give a message to all the kids of Georgia, I would say believe in yourself, regardless of where you live and where you come from and how much money you have. I think that we have great education in this state if you avail yourself of that. And if you work really hard, I think you can pull yourself up from wherever your situation is. And so I would tell them, and to find somebody that believes in you too. I think there are lots of places you can go, be it Boys and Girls Clubs or WISE or even church groups or your synagogue or wherever that may be. There are people who want to help and who want to believe in you. So if you don't have that at home, go someplace and find it. And that can make all the difference, I think, in a child's life, knowing that there's somebody that believes in them and their potential.